problem solving and critical thinking. 2 weeks left. This week we talk about inductive reasoning. Last week we talked about deductive arguments, and this week we'll talk about inductive reasoning. And there are many, many different things that can impact our reasoning, and we're going to focus this week on analogies. And analogies can be a good thing, but they can also be a bad thing. There's a reasoning strategy that we're going to talk about this week called comparative reasoning, where it's sort of a this is like that. And sometimes people take a shortcut in reasoning and they do this comparative type of reasoning, and it just doesn't work the way that it should. It gives you an idea, but people will begin to think that it's a definitive comment in those areas. So this is going to be a fun week. All right. This week in the Read and Study, Chapter 11, again, on inductive reasoning. You'll see the lecture up here. This week there is a TED Talk video, The Hidden Power of Analogy. I really, really like this one. And then down here, I've given a video this week about, it's sort of an introduction to logic. Whenever I was in undergraduate work, I had 3 logic classes. I took Logic 1, Logic 2, and Logic 3. And I would have taken Logic 4 if they had one, because I just like the thought process that goes through that. So make sure you watch both of those videos this week. I think that'll be a lot of fun for you. And then what you have to do this week, the video blog is going to talk about comparative reasoning. And I mentioned earlier that a common reasoning strategy is comparative reasoning. And, people will use analogies to say this is like that. And so one of the reasons I mentioned here that that's so popular is because it's an easier argument. You can say this is like that, and then you don't have to talk about all the nuances that you have going through. But sometimes that's a slippery slope. So in the video blog this week, I want you to give me an example. Share an example of an analogy argument. Don't use one from the textbook, though, that you feel is a great example of the concept. And as you present it, talk about the goods and the bads of it. I don't expect everything, because everything is not like, one thing is not always exclusively like something else, even if we try and make it so. Okay? So that is the blog this week. And then the short answer this week goes over 3 global topics. We have arguments from analogy, generalizations, another big challenging area, and then causal statements. And many of you, if you work in different areas, have probably done some root cause analysis, and you talk about what is at the heart of the issue and not what are the symptoms of the issue. So be some good reading on that. In the journal this week, there's just an application off of that TED Talk that talks about the power of analogies. And I want you to personalize this and tell me how this works and how you as an individual can be centered on the facts and not just opinion going forward. All right? Have a great week.